Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach, and I've been traveling a little bit recently. I went to the home office of my employer, Rocket Mortgage. I am also now a staff software engineer. My title changed on, what day is it? I'm looking down at my calendar here. So if I do math in the morning, it's hard. On June 5th, my title officially updated, and it was kind of an involved process. It took a lot longer than I thought it would after initially starting at Rocket as being a developer advocate. And that isn't a role that I've done in over a year. And it wasn't so much the title becoming something specific or being a certain name or anything like that. I really just wanted to get rid of that title because it wasn't it's not what I do on a full-time basis. And even though I still speak at conferences, I do writing, I try to build community both internally and externally, all those things, it isn't my main focus like it would be if I was in DevRel. So I just wanted it something different, and it took time to finally get to where it ended up being. So I was mostly just happy to finally be rid of that title and move on to something else. So in any event, I was traveling this past week, and I did some work at night, although when I do these on-sites at Rocket, that's only like once or twice a year. And so a lot of it is just meetings and hanging out and going out afterwards. So there's not a lot of time to spend in a hotel room at night being bored. But I did get a couple things worked out. I want to go through them and then talk about just a couple things I want to do now. Long story short, there's a lot of cleanup work that I need to do, and figuring out like how to now shape these models so they have the right things in the right spots. But I'll talk about that in a little bit of a moment. One thing I noticed here, because I know I'm going to eventually have to test the models, and I'm like, they're all taking interfaces. I wonder if I could mock them to test them in a unit test. I've written a mocking framework, and then I'm like, how convoluted would that be? Because I would have to I'd actually have to have rocks referenced such that it's an analyzer package or reference it from NuGet, but then that's in the project along with testing the new version. It's like, oof, that would be hard. So that was just a random thought I had one night. So a couple things that I fixed. One of them is I realized that I didn't have all of the generator tests changed so that they were using all the V3 stuff. And so what I thought, I passed all the tests. No, not really. And then some things popped up and I was like, oh crap. So I had to go back and fix them. One of them was, when I changed the stuff for this type, I was originally doing this. And for some reason, I kept that in the V3 version. And so I was getting some errors because it was trying to cast things, and obviously it's not this, and it just didn't work. So I had to change it. And this is one of the things that I'm talking about, is this return type is task of T type and is null forgiving. What I really need to do is somehow change that so I have that on the return type itself and say, are you a task type? Are you a value task type? Are you a task of T? Those things. And then say, are you null forgiving with those in place? Because this is specific for the return types for when you're doing makes, but I still have to have these checks in there. And it works now. It's just the naming looks a little weird. So that's one of those things that I fixed. Another one, and I had to hunt around to find it. I was confused as to what happened, was somewhere in this type reference model, I had some kind of delegate invoke method name or something like that, which was completely wrong. I don't know why. Well, more to the point, it was still an iMethod symbol, I think. And that was also causing problems. So I think what that resolved to was this, is that in the event model, because this is where the delegate invoke method is being used. So I realized there's this args type thing, and that's what it comes down to. Again, this is something I should just probably call it argument argument types or something like that, or called the arg. Or it's args because it's event args. So yeah, that's why I named it that way. But in any event, it's a special case for event model. I realize I can do it here and then put that code here, and then it gets referenced and everything's okay. So those are a couple changes that I made, and now all the tests pass. And I believe that if I look at rock create generator and I see where that is all being used, I think it's only in the tests in one spot. Well, okay, mock model tests. Why is that? Oh, I could change that. In fact, I should. And then let's come back over here and change that. Okay, so now where is that being used? I think it's no. That's what I wanted, but what I want to do is here. Okay. And so now it's only in one test, and that's the mock information test, which I now have a mock models test, which is doing exactly the same thing as this. So I think I could actually just say get rid of this. The performance tests, yes, I'm eventually going to have to come to that. I might actually remove this project and the performance tests, because it's just going to cause too many problems. So in fact, let me just get rid of those, remove them and remove them. Sure, save it. So let me make a quick note here. Rocks performance, and then I think I called it rocks performance test or something like that. So those will come in when I eventually get back to getting everything done. Now, one thing I want to add in is the integration test, which I actually tried, and that's what led to me finding out, oh, there's still some stuff that's being missed and that I actually didn't do correctly. So now you can see here, there is still a mock information test, but this one could actually arguably go away because I think I have mock model tests, right? Yeah. This new search is a little slow, but if I come up to the top here in this one, yeah, it's the same thing. So I can eventually just say, bye-bye, you go away because I don't need you anymore. The one thing I tried to do is I said on this type, remove the attribute, or I just commented it out because I didn't want to have double work being done. And one of the things I noticed is I was starting to get some errors that looked like it was saying something about a file already been created. And I thought, well, then that means I have to comment this or comment the whole type out. That's why I just was looking to see where is this being referenced, because I don't want it anywhere. So if I say rock make generator, let's just check that one real quick and see where's that being referenced. Anywhere? Nope, that is now just referencing itself. So that one's good. But one thing I did do that's different right now is if I go to rock create generator v3, is I no longer have any caching here. If you look down here, not caching, that's not the right word, but I want to make sure that I'm only doing generation for unique things. So the thing I'm a little bit concerned about is what happens if in a run of the incremental generator that there's two spots where it sees like a rock create. And so I end up generating two mock models. And since I don't look for uniqueness here, I'm just generating them. So the point is I might actually be doing that myself, regardless of the fact that the engine itself, the compilation engine and how it's hosted and run in Visual Studio is not still picking up this if I commented out the generator attribute. There's not a lot of documentation on this one. In fact, if you F12 into it, I believe it doesn't tell you much of anything other than places attribute. Yeah, onto a type and to cause it to be considered a source generator. Where, how, why, conditions, reasons, nothing. So I think it's something that Visual Studio actually uses to say how many types actually have this attribute on it. And of course, you still have to implement this interface on it to say to do the right things. But in any event, I'm going to write a test just real quick to say, hey, what happens if I have a case where I'm going to try to do rock create on a type twice, and does this actually generate it or not? Because it should only generate one. And if it does do two, then we're just going to have to put that in here and say have a hash set and do what I'm doing here, which is to say, if I haven't seen it, add will do a bool. And so if it doesn't see it, then I'll do it. If it is there, then I just don't. Okay, that was a lot of explanation for something that you may go, what in the world? But I wanted to do this one test just because I want to make sure that I am not doing duplication, and that then I can add in the integration test project and try that again and see what happens. So what do I want to call this test? I have interface generator tests. I have record create generator tests. I have model tests, which I'm going to have to add more. But where do I want to put this? Rock create generator tests? Sure. Oh, this is record create generator tests, not rock create generator tests. I just want simple. I just want simple. Do I have just simple? Allow null generator tests. Well, naming's hard. Naming's hard on a Sunday morning. Let's do multiple model generator tests, because I can't think of anything else. Public static class. Okay. And then we're going to, I thought I kept up one of these, but I didn't. So we're going to do this. And this should arguably be for a make as well, but that's okay. Oh, it just added it. I didn't even do anything. It just added it. That was awesome. Okay. So with multiple creates async. So what does that mean? We want to have rock 1 and rock 2. Now the point is, or we could just do this. We could say generate again, because what it should do is find that you're doing this twice, just like you can consider these to be like test methods. And we should, and then it runs the compilation, but we should only do one. So let's see what this does. Yeah, it failed. And why did you fail? Yep, because there's 2. That's great. And let's just run this quick on the old one and see what this does. Yeah, that passes. So that's actually a good indicator that we are not doing the right thing. So if we come into here, what we want to do is something similar to this. So we want to say our targets is not a hash set of this, it's a hash set of mock models. Okay. Now, why are we doing... So here's where we want to do it. It's the type mock model, because that's actually where we do the generation. And targets.add mock type. There. That's all we have to do, because then we see that, yes, we've already had this one before. Now, of course, this means this is a good test to see, is the equality actually going to work? And that's possible that it may not. It may not actually say for these 2 that it considers both of them to be equal. So let's see what this does. And it passes. That is awesome, because what we want to do now is repeat this for the makes. So let's do that. Let's do this. And now let's say make like this. Make and make. And of course, I don't know what this is going to be. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to say that this is a, oh God, I did the wrong one. And then that, and then that. Okay. And then we want to go into the rock make, not mage. This isn't wizardry. Well, it could kind of feel like that, but no, it isn't. So let's come over here. Let's put in that healthy little check here, and let's do that and put that there, and targets.add mock type, and Bob's your uncle. Let's get rid of all these because it's making a bunch of noise. Okay, why isn't it doing the colorization? How dare you? I have all this colorization stuff and you're not colorizing. Ugh. Okay, so we got that. We got that. And now this will fail, but hopefully it fails just because it says you just don't have the one generated code thing right. And it failed, but why did it fail? Yes, because of all the things. Okay. Now you're going to be such a pain because you just, I hate this window. I really, really hate this window. Okay. So it does keep the spaces here. So what's interesting is if we come back over here and we do this and we say 2, 3, do that, and then that, and then that. And now, did it? Yes, it did. So can we actually say, take the pluses away? And did that keep in? Oh, that's much better. Let's try this. And it passes. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, because I feel kind of adventurous, is I'm going to run all the tests just to make sure they all run. And then I'm going to commit this. And then I'm going to bring in the integration test project and run it and see, well, I'm going to run it, but I'm going to run it. I got to make sure that I have these quote unquote off, that these aren't picked up as generators. So I'm going to do all that. And then I'm going to come back and say, what were the results, and see, is it a complete failure or did we actually get success or even partial success? So I will be right back. Okay, well, I added it back in and it's better than it was last time, which is I'm getting 3 errors. The typer namespace name, ugh. So, and then hopefully it's going to get into the generated code. Yes. So this is with the event handling, which is actually kind of cool. Oh, there's more errors, but this is fine. This is actually really helpful. So whatever it did here, it's actually, it is so not doing the right thing. So let me take some quick notes on this. I'm not going to fix this in this episode, but we're done with this one. And let's now say integration test issues. What do we got going on? This is in, okay, sorry, my son pounded on my door and I got distracted. So I'm just taking notes. No, why do you do this? Why? Okay, so yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that is wrong. Is this all in the same one? Yeah, that's all in the, well, that's good. Okay, so it actually, it's these are all purely because of one error. And it's all because of the event handling stuff that I've obviously screwed up on. I just find this so funny. How did I make this so bad? I think it actually should be, I don't even know where this, is there like a C named thing that I did in this test? I have no idea. Where is the, go, no, not that. Yes, there's an event handler C. Therein lies the problem. And I'm probably not, just how I ever named this is completely wrong. This should end up being like .c. And that's bad. But I'm not going to do that in this episode. I'll do that in the next one. And we'll write tests to figure out why this is failing. But in a way, this is very encouraging, because if this is only from one, and do I even have tests on events? No, I do not. So that's actually something that we need to do. So I'm going to put need tests for event generation, especially when it's for explicit implementation, because that's where I think that's where it's failing. If I come up here, do I actually have, I have explicit interface, implementation, but I don't even have anything in here for just events. It's part of this. Again, I don't have the most perfect ways of handling all this. But what were some of the other things down here? Like there was no, let's go back to, it's just amazing how that caused so many errors. But what's this? What's this? Oh, it's in the actual integration test, because why do I have two spaces there? Why am I getting so distracted? Okay, so definitely progress was made. This was a good thing. And in the next episode, I will create some stuff around the tests and figuring out how to actually handle this, because this is the target of what we want. Use this for definition. I don't think we care about any of these things or that. I think we just want to trigger it so that we have that. I'm not sure if this is all of what we need, but that should be good for a test. So that will be in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.